Thank you, dear friend, for being here today. Have you ever felt like the universe was whispering to you, but you couldn't quite make out the words? Like something just beyond the veil of reality was trying to get your attention through a sudden chill, a vivid dream, a stranger's glance that felt strangely familiar? Well, Sagittarius, this message is for you, and it didn't arrive by accident. Because this October, something ancient, powerful, and sacred is calling your name, and it's not calling you to escape, but to return, not to a place, but to a promise. A vow your soul once made long before you could speak it aloud. And now, the universe is gathering its signs, aligning its stars, and lighting your path with mysterious synchronicities. All so that you remember, this is not just another month on the calendar. This is not just another astrological update. This is the moment where destiny stirs, where a long-dormant truth inside you begins to wake slowly, like a sleeping dragon stretching its wings beneath your ribs. And the question is, are you ready to listen? Because what you'll hear in this video might feel like it was written directly from your own heart, even the parts you've tried to silence. You see, Sagittarius, your sign is the seeker, the wanderer, the wild soul chasing meaning through galaxies. But what happens when the arrow points inward? What if the biggest journey isn't about where you're going, but what's been waiting for you to finally stop running? Today, we'll uncover the sacred reason you were born under this fire sign, why October is vibrating with energy only you can hear, and how this exact moment could be your portal to the abundance, the clarity, the deep peace, and yes, even the jackpot-level breakthrough you've been praying for. But before we begin, I have 2 questions for you. First, have you been feeling restless lately, like your current life no longer fits your soul? Second, what if that restlessness isn't a problem but a divine invitation to something far greater? So grab a warm cup of coffee or tea, find a quiet corner to just be, and allow yourself this gift to slow down and hear what your soul has been trying to tell you for so long. If you're feeling this message already tugging at your chest, I want you to comment below, "I'm ready to return to my soul's promise." It's not just a comment, it's a declaration. It tells the universe, I'm listening. And here's a little secret at the end of this video. I'll reveal a cosmic alignment happening only once every few decades, specifically touching Sagittarius energy, and it could change everything. So stay with me, the journey begins now. They say the universe whispers before it roars, but sometimes, Sagittarius, even a whisper feels like a storm inside your chest. And lately, you've felt it, haven't you? Maybe you just received an unexpected sum of money, not a lottery win, but a strange financial gift that came out of nowhere. A refund you didn't ask for. A client that suddenly pays double. Or maybe you walked past a scratch card or jackpot ad, and your heart skipped a beat, not out of greed, but because something told you, that was meant for me. And yet, in the very same week, you cried. And not because someone hurt you, not because of some tragic news. You just sat in the car or under the shower or at your desk, and suddenly tears spilled from a place even you didn't know existed. You tried to explain it. Maybe you blamed stress, or hormones, or the season changing. But deep down, a small voice whispered, this is a remembering. And if you're really honest, maybe a memory came back to you too. But not like a flashback, more like a flicker, a place you've never been, but somehow missed. A person you've never met, but whose name makes your chest ache. Or maybe it was a sentence, a dream, a symbol, something that stirred the dust on a part of your soul you thought was long buried. These aren't coincidences, they're not random, and they're definitely not small. They're signals, beacons, echoes from the other side of the veil. Because in the realm of Sagittarius, you are not just a sign of fire, you are the flame of memory, the arrow of destiny, the traveler between lives. And this October, your soul is waking up to a promise it made before it came into this world. What you're feeling isn't confusion, it's activation. The money that's not luck, it's alignment. It's energy flowing toward you, because you finally stepped close enough to the door you were always meant to open. The tears, they're not weakness. They're a sacred rinsing, a breaking of the dam that has held in lifetimes of longing. They are soul water, ancient grief melting away because it's finally time to remember. And that flicker of memory, that haunting déjà vu, that's your soul whispering, you promised. Yes, Sagittarius. You once made a vow to seek, to find, to liberate, a vow to carry not just your own dreams, but the map for others who are lost. You're not just someone chasing purpose, you are purpose in motion. That's why no ordinary life ever satisfies you. That's why you've always felt a strange ache, even in moments of success, as if something bigger was calling your name from beyond the stars. And now, the call is getting louder. That's why in recent days or weeks, you've felt strange waves of emotion. One day, you're inspired beyond belief, the next, you're restless, doubting everything. Your dreams are more vivid, your intuition is sharper. You might be waking up at the same time every night, especially between 3 and 5 in the morning, as if something invisible is nudging you awake, whispering, "It's time." And it is. This is the universe knocking, gently but firmly, on the door of your soul. And the knock always comes with signs. Some are sweet like sudden abundance. Some are heavy like unexplained grief. But all of them carry the same vibration. Awaken, return, fulfill. You are being invited, summoned to realign with your higher contract. The one you signed not on paper, but in stardust. The one that promised, "I will not live a half-life, I will remember. I will rise, I will light the way for others, even when my own path feels dark." And Sagittarius, you don't have to know all the details of that contract right now. You don't have to understand exactly what you're being called toward. The mind wants clarity, but the soul works through resonance. And right now, your entire being is vibrating at the edge of remembering. This October, the signs will come faster, stronger, louder, and they will challenge you not to suffer, but to shed, to release the version of yourself that settled for safety when your soul came here for so much more. So the next time you find yourself tearing up out of nowhere, don't push it away. Close your eyes, let the water fall, and ask your soul, "What are you trying to show me?" The next time you receive unexpected money or a sign of prosperity, don't brush it off. Smile, say thank you, and whisper to the universe, "I'm listening. I'm ready." And if that memory flickers again, even if it doesn't make sense, write it down, follow it. There is truth hidden in that moment. Truth from before this lifetime. Truth you were always meant to reclaim. Because Sagittarius, you are not just a star sign, you are a torchbearer. And the path you are being shown now, it is ancient, golden, and uniquely yours. The signs have already begun. The question is, will you follow them? You've spent your life chasing horizons, Sagittarius. You were born under a sky that never stopped moving, a soul wired to run, to reach, to roam far beyond the edges of ordinary maps. But what if I told you that this time, the real journey isn't out there? What if this chapter, this sacred October, isn't calling you to pack a bag, board a plane, or launch into a new project? What if instead, it's asking you to turn around? Not to go backward, but to go inward. Because for all your endless seeking, there is a part of you that has been quietly waiting. Waiting behind the noise, behind the doing, behind the stories you've told yourself to keep moving. It's not tired, but it's ready. And now, for the first time in a very long time, the stars are aligning to invite you into the one place you've often avoided. Your own soul. Sagittarius, this isn't about stopping. It's about returning to the root. Returning to the pulse that existed before you became someone. Returning to the wild, luminous, untamed energy that made you fall in love with the idea of life in the first place. You've mastered the outer exploration. But now, the universe is handing you a different kind of map. One written in emotion, in memory, in silence. A map that leads not to a city or a job or a new lover, but to the truest version of yourself. And here's the sacred truth. This version of you isn't out there to be discovered. It's already within you, waiting in the quiet moments, in the longing you've been trying to outrun, in the voice that trembles when you say, "I'm fine," even when you're not. This is the chapter where the wanderer becomes the witness, where the arrow you've always shot outward finally turns back toward your own heart. It's not easy. Let's be honest, looking inward rarely is. You might find broken pieces you'd rather not touch, dreams you abandoned for practicality, wounds you covered with laughter. You might see a version of you who still aches for something unnamed. But listen to me carefully. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply being called back to the beginning. Because beginnings aren't just for the young. They're for the brave, for the ones willing to look at themselves not with judgment, but with awe, with reverence, with the sacred curiosity of someone discovering a holy relic buried deep in their own chest. This inner pilgrimage won't be guided by logic, it will be guided by feeling, and feelings, Sagittarius. Those raw, unfiltered, inconvenient waves are your compass now. Don't be surprised if this month you feel pulled to solitude, to nature, to music that makes you cry for no reason, to conversations that crack you open instead of distract you. These are not distractions. These are portals, gateways, soft echoes guiding you back to center. Because the door you're meant to open now doesn't lead to another passport stamp. It leads to the moment you realize everything you were ever searching for was quietly waiting inside you all along. And once you step through that door, once you truly come home to yourself, everything changes. Your relationships feel different because you no longer beg to be understood. You understand yourself. Your work takes on new meaning because you're no longer chasing success for validation, but because your soul wants to give. You stop running from the silence because in the silence, you finally hear your own voice again, clear, ancient, and stunningly wise. This is your turning point, Sagittarius. Not the end of your journey, but the reversal of direction. Not the fall from adventure, but the elevation into truth. The world taught you that answers are out there. The stars now remind you the treasure was buried in your own chest. Are you ready to dig? Are you ready to remember the version of you who doesn't need to be anywhere else, do anything more, prove anything to anyone? Because that version of you is holy. And this October, that's who you're being called to meet, not out in the wild, but in the sacred stillness of your own being. The door is already half open. All that's left is for you to walk through it. Have you been feeling out of place lately? Maybe it's your job, something about it just feels off. Not bad. Just empty. Like you're going through the motions in a play that no longer moves you. Or maybe it's your relationships, people you once adored now feel like they speak a language your soul doesn't understand anymore. And perhaps it's even your dreams, the ones you used to chase with burning passion. Now, when you reach for them, your hands feel strangely still. If you're nodding silently right now, know this: you are not broken. This isn't failure. This isn't confusion. This isn't you losing your spark. This is a sacred shedding. Sagittarius, your frequency is shifting, quietly, invisibly, like tectonic plates deep beneath the surface. You are being recalibrated to a higher resonance. And that process often begins with a strange sense of not belonging anywhere. This is what I call the soul in between. You're not who you were, but you're not quite who you're becoming. And in that space, nothing fits. Everything feels loose, outdated, misaligned. Even your own reflection feels like a costume you've outgrown. But listen closely. This is not a crisis. This is a chrysalis. You are not lost. You are unplugging. Unplugging from relationships that were built on a version of you that no longer exists. Unplugging from environments that rewarded your performance, but not your truth. Unplugging from routines that once gave you comfort, but now feel like cages. And yes, it's unsettling. It's lonely. It's even a little heartbreaking. Because you're watching the life you built slowly dissolve. Not because it was bad, but because it has served its purpose. The universe is not being cruel. It's being clear. You are being prepared, emptied out, cleared, because a new version of you, A more aligned, more powerful, more authentic version is being born. But like all births, this one requires space. It requires letting go. So if you find yourself staring at old goals and feeling nothing, that's not laziness. That's evolution. If you hear laughter around a dinner table and wonder why it doesn't land in your chest anymore, that's not detachment, that's soul realignment. If you wake up in the morning and feel like you don't know what you're doing anymore, that's not a lack of direction. That's a transition between timelines. This stage is uncomfortable. You will want to go back to the familiar, just to feel safe again. But Sagittarius, the path backward is closed. You've outgrown it. You don't belong there anymore, and that's not rejection. That's redirection. And I know, there's grief in this too. Grief for the version of you who once believed that dream would last forever. Grief for the friendships that held you in one season, but cannot walk with you into the next. Grief for the simple certainty you once had, even if it was built on illusions. But grief is sacred too. It's the ceremony we hold for our former selves. It's the space we create to honor who we were, before we rise into who we're meant to become. And, Sagittarius, you are meant to become so much more. This not belonging you feel is not a void, it's a womb, and October is the contraction before the expansion. So breathe into the discomfort. Let yourself float in this in-between. Resist the urge to force clarity. You're not supposed to fix this moment, you're supposed to feel it, to witness it, to hold your own hand through it. Because the new frequency you're being tuned into, it's still forming, and your job is to simply stay present as it arrives. Let yourself be undone. Let yourself be reformed. Let yourself admit, I don't know who I am anymore, but I trust that who I'm becoming is someone I will finally recognize. And when you feel lost, Sagittarius, just remember, not all who wander are searching. Some are simply being guided home to a self that was always waiting, just beyond the veil. There comes a moment in every soul's journey that cannot be postponed. Not because you're ready, not because everything makes sense, but because the universe has decided it's time. Sagittarius, that moment is arriving for you in October. You won't see it coming in grand fanfare. It won't always appear with thunder or lightning or some dramatic breakdown. Often, it will arrive quietly, slipping through the cracks of your everyday life like golden light through a half-open door. It could be a dream one that shakes you awake, with your heart pounding and a name on your lips you don't even recognize. It could be a sentence from a stranger, something so ordinary, yet it pierces straight into the core of you, as if the universe just spoke through them to get your attention. It could be a decision one you've been avoiding for weeks, maybe even years, that suddenly refuses to be ignored. You'll know it when it happens, because in that moment, you'll feel everything inside you pause. The noise around you may keep buzzing, but your soul will fall silent, as if the entire cosmos is holding its breath, waiting for your answer. And you won't be able to unhear it. You won't be able to brush it off like all the other signs you once pretended weren't meant for you. Because this time, Sagittarius, you'll feel it as a calling, a remembering, a recognition that you've been here before in another time, another body, another lifetime, and this moment, this choice, was written in the stars long ago. This is the activation of your soul's vow. You promised, before you were born, to awaken, to carry the torch of truth, to break the pattern, to heal a lineage, to speak what others are afraid to say, to leap when no one else dares to move. And now, that promise is knocking at your door. You may be scared. You may be tempted to say, "Not yet, I'm not ready." But Sagittarius, let me say this to you with all the love and fire your soul deserves. Not choosing is also a choice, and it's the only one that keeps you stuck. You see, the universe isn't asking for perfection. It's not demanding certainty. It's not waiting for you to have it all figured out. It's only asking for honesty. The honesty to admit what you really want. The honesty to walk away from what no longer feels like home. The honesty to say, I don't know where this will lead, but I can no longer deny the pull. You don't need a 10-step plan. You don't need anyone else's permission. You just need one sacred moment of courage. And Sagittarius, that moment is coming in October. It might come while you're journaling late at night. It might strike while you're mid-conversation and suddenly realize, I can't keep pretending anymore. Why? Or maybe it happens while staring at the stars, and a wave of knowing crashes over you so deep, so ancient, you fall to your knees not in weakness, but in surrender. Because surrender is strength when it's the moment your soul finally says, I'm ready. And if this message is reaching into the marrow of your bones right now, if your eyes are stinging and your heart is trembling with that strange mixture of fear and recognition, then you already know what this means for you. This is not the time to delay. This is not the time to wait for the right sign. This is the sign. The stars are not outside of you. They are moving through you. And their alignment is not just astrological, it's personal. So Sagittarius, I invite you now, if you feel it in your spirit, to comment below with the words, I'm ready to fulfill my soul's promise. Say it not for me, but for you. Say it to break the spell of fear. Say it as a declaration to yourself, to the universe, to the version of you who's been waiting patiently for you to remember. Because once you say it, things will begin to move. Not always quickly, not always clearly, but undeniably. And at the end of this month, you'll look back at that one moment, that dream, that whisper, that decision, and realize that was the beginning of everything. Some things cannot be understood through logic. Some things must be felt, must be experienced, must be remembered through ritual. And this is one of those things. Sagittarius, you've heard the call. You've felt the stirring in your chest. You've recognized the moment approaching. But now, the universe is asking you for more than just awareness. It's asking for action. Not loud, public, dramatic action, but sacred, quiet, personal action. The kind that doesn't need to be witnessed by anyone except your soul. So tonight, or on the night that feels right to you, I want you to create a simple ritual. A ceremony not for the world, but for your becoming. Begin with stillness. Let the world fade away. Put down your phone. Light a single candle, purple if you have it, for spiritual wisdom, or deep ocean blue, for soul remembrance and emotional truth. Let the flame be your anchor. Let it remind you there is still fire within you, waiting to rise. Then, take a piece of paper, nothing fancy, just a blank space that you will now fill with something sacred. Write down one thing, just one promise you once made to yourself, a vow you whispered long ago, maybe as a child, maybe during a heartbreak, maybe during a moment of pure clarity but have never fulfilled. It could be small. It could be massive. Maybe you promised to live freely, to speak your truth, to travel the world, to heal your body, to stop settling, to finally create the thing only you can create. Write it. Let the words pour out like a prayer. And once it's written, hold it in your hands, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Then, with gentleness, read these words aloud as a sacred affirmation. I am ready to return. I am ready to live my soul's mission. Say it again. Say it slowly. Let the vibration echo through your chest. Now, keep the paper somewhere safe. Or if you feel called, burn it carefully in a safe space, releasing the intention to the universe with the flame that holds your truth. As the candle flickers, sit in silence for a few minutes. Let your body speak to you. Let your soul rise to meet your breath. There's no rush, no right way to feel. Just be there. With you. With you. This isn't about manifesting something outside. This is about activating something ancient inside. Because here's what most people don't understand. The invisible pain you've been carrying, the emptiness, the restlessness, the ache of not knowing what's next. It's not a punishment, it's a message, a sign that your soul is trying to break through the noise. And this ritual? It's a door, a decoder, a key to unlocking that invisible weight. When you write that old promise, you aren't just remembering a goal. You're reclaiming your power. When you light that candle, you aren't just creating ambience. You're summoning the version of you that's been waiting to return. And when you speak those words aloud, even with shaking hands or a trembling voice, you're sending out a signal. I'm back, I remember, and I'm ready. Don't underestimate how powerful that moment can be. You don't need fireworks. You don't need 1,000 likes. You just need that feeling in your chest, that warmth, that spark, that shift telling you that something real has begun. So, Sagittarius, will you do it? Will you carve out 15 minutes for your soul? Will you allow yourself to feel sacred, even if just for one evening? If this ritual calls to you, if you feel the tug, the pull, the fire, then take this as your sign. Light the candle, write the vow, whisper the affirmation, and if you're feeling ready, comment below. I am ready to live my soul's mission. Your words have power, your voice has power. And this simple act of declaring it may be the moment your destiny begins to shift. And so, dear Sagittarius, when October passes, it will not feel like just another month torn from the calendar. It will feel like a door one you finally had the courage to walk through, one that whispered your name for years, but this time, you answered. Because something happens when you choose the path your soul has been pointing toward all along. You stop searching for signs and become one. You stop chasing alignment and start embodying it. And suddenly people, opportunities, answers begin to appear, not because the world outside has changed, but because you have. That's the gift of October. Not perfection, not guarantees, but clarity. The kind of clarity that only comes when you say yes to what scares you, but also frees you. The kind that rewrites your timeline, not through grand revolutions, but through sacred remembering. Because here's the truth. When you finally return to the vow your soul made long ago, the moment you say, yes, I'm ready, something that was once lost comes back home to you. And that something is you. So if this message stirred something deep inside, if your chest feels warm, your eyes feel wet, or there's a quiet whisper inside saying, this is about me, trust that. You were meant to be here. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to awaken. And if it touched your heart, I invite you to do 2 things right now. First, like this video and subscribe to the channel, not just to support the content, but to keep receiving messages that remind you who you are and why you came here. And second, comment below with the words, October is the month I begin living as my true self. Not just as a response, but as a soul declaration, a vibration, a calling card to the universe that you are ready for more, and that you're not hiding anymore, because you're not alone on this journey, not even close. Thousands of other Sagittarius souls are walking through this same fire, this same portal, and your voice, your courage, may be exactly what gives someone else the strength to keep going. And if you feel moved, you can also now support this channel through Super Thanks. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a way of helping this message reach hearts across the world, hearts that are silently waiting for hope, for guidance, for the feeling of home in words like these. As for what's coming next, oh Sagittarius, you'll want to be here. Because in our next video, we'll dive even deeper into the mysterious alignments waiting to unlock your next chapter. Planetary shifts, synchronicities that reveal your true path, and the exact rituals to attract wealth, love, and unshakable peace. So make sure you check the description box below. I've left a small, magical surprise for you there. Something to support you on this next leg of your journey. And finally, remember this. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of abundance. You are worthy of a life that feels like truth every single day. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. What kind of content would you love to see next? Is there a specific part of your journey you want guidance on? Leave it in the comments. Your voice helps shape this space into exactly what you need. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I'm honored to walk this path beside you. Until next time, keep the fire burning. And remember, October will not be like any month before it will be the month you return to yourself.